All right, staying in meditation, just allowing yourself to notice where you've been. Notice what's been visiting you. What kind of thoughts? What kind of feelings? So I'm going to read the rest of this meditation because it so perfectly describes the process here. So moving on, somewhere in the darkness we hear a sound, a distant note, a voice, a scuffle of movement. We feel the flutter of a breeze upon our face, feel a warmth upon our shoulders, feel the pull to rise and flow and follow, but we know not where. Our bodies cannot see and dare not move. They are dark and still. They call to us for direction, wisdom, guidance. Just talking about the body. The body calls to us for direction, wisdom, and guidance. They call to intelligence. They call to memory. They call for clarification of the pattern. They call to light. We hear this call, and our own mind, hungry for answers, quests outward. We long to see, to know, to behold at once the wonders that surround us, to fill our minds with recognition, the certain steps of knowing, the safety and the peace that light too can bring. We open our minds, we open our eyes, we look about. Images pull forth in a myriad of kaleidoscope forms, tumbling inward, patterns upon patterns, endlessly interweaving. Colors, shapes, and forms, reflecting space around us, reflecting back into us, recording life in patterns that our mind can clearly see. The mind opens and receives, but there is too much and the light is blinding. We call to the dark again to shade us, to temper, to bind the patterns into meaning. And the dark comes softly, hand in hand, and shadow to the light, defining, shading, intertwining, ordering. The light comes more gently now, rainbow colors, healing, soothing, illuminating, coming at will. Active yellow, healing green, soothing blue, potent violet. All that is alive grows with light. Shape and essence and form are revealed for us to see and know. But what do we wish to see? What do we call forth to our inner vision? What does light bring? So would you be in that beautiful dance between light and dark? And I want you to have a meditative think and feel on what in your life right now is the tempering of darkness and what is the light. And would you look at them both? Alrighty. Would you just thank your dichotomies, your darkness, your light for visiting with you? And slowly but surely beginning to make your way out of meditation. Let your body stretch a little bit. Alrighty. So I just want to check in with everybody because it's such a personal thing what happens inside of meditation. And sometimes it's really easy to get lost or think that you are maybe not doing it right. So I want to open up some space with everybody here to just chat about their experience of that. How is it going into the darkness? How is it going into your sixth chakra, the void, and finding that neutrality? How is it for you to then be with what comes up when you get quiet? How are you doing in terms of being able to greet that stuff? What does it feel like to do that? And where do you feel like you're getting to with it, or possibly challenged by something? I want to workshop that a little bit so that we can clear up those tendrils, open up those pathways, and just find some permission, some answers, some grounding around the internal world. So if you guys have questions, thoughts about that, how did that last meditation go for you? You can either chat here, unmute, or give us a little chat box meditation as to what's been going on for you when you're in the internal worlds.
I'll chat because that was fun. So when we did the light and the dark part of it, immediately when I went to think of the light, it was like all of the bullshit right now that's being exposed and like just a ripping back. And like immediately I was like, no, that's not right. That can't be right. Like, because I always think, oh, light is good and, goodness and this and that. And then I was like, okay, no. I was like, sink into that, like, see what's going on. So I sank into that, and it was interesting because when I felt into what the dark was for me, it was like my own power to sit in that uncomfy, really exposed light. And it was like that very primal maternal feeling to like protect myself in those situations. And I was like, okay, now where do those two things come together? And I was still kind of working on that, but I like that. That was interesting.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful. um, yeah, God, I really feel like that maturation really happens when you work that out for yourself, when you blow the picture that light is goodness. In reality, light is, ooh, the expansion is sometimes the hardest thing. The blinding light of love, gold energy is like, oh God, because it just rips through stuff. It can sometimes actually be the more negative sensation, especially to people who have that like dark goddess, witch kind of lower chakra queen energy, or like the lower frequencies that do well at that level. Light and that really high frequency, even though it's been so associated spiritually with goodness, it really is just neutral. Just like darkness really is just neutral. It's how much of which do you need? That's really, that's the process. Anybody else want to chat about your process?
Yeah. So that was highly, highly sensational for me. After decades worth of work, I feel like finally when I go inside, I am inside of something. instead of the mental construct of what it feels like to be inside. It's actually the sensation of being inside of my body, which is, oh gosh, it's so many things. Today, during that meditation, I really felt my energy moving up my spine from my lower chakras. I felt it in my solar plexus, which is still, after all this work, kind of unusual. It felt like champagne bubbles mixed with electricity. And anytime I tried to grasp for it or pull it up, it would dissipate and leak out. So then I would go back down into my feet, and then it would spontaneously start to run up my spine again. And I noticed anytime I had an expectation of what it would be like when it finally got to my third eye, it would dissipate again. Like, so I'm noticing this grasping and pulling for me doesn't shut it down. What does it do? It thins it out. If I let it emerge, if I allow, if I surrender, it's like, I just as I said that, it like shot up my head. Like, oh, wow, all over again. So highly sensational. That's what today was for me.
I saw you over there, and I was like, oh yeah, that looks really good. Everybody's energy was really doing the thing.
It was doing the thing.
Thank you so much. It's really beautiful to hear everybody at every layer, you know, like seeing people who are brand new to it have such a cool interpretation of it. People a year and a half in have a really cool interpretation of it, just totally different than people 5 years, 10 years. You just see how long these tools just keep working layer by layer. So thank you. I love hearing from all you guys about it. Anybody else want to just say hello to their process and be seen?
I had a similar experience, just along the lines of like all of this energy kind of coming up, and then all of this heat being released in like the upper half, basically. Like my face is getting red even talking about it. It was like all of this pain, and I kept seeing images of myself like crying and like lashing out in anger. And that was what was stimulated with the darkness. And in the first chunk, really, it was like just looking at what was coming up. That was when a lot of the pain was coming up as well. And it was like all of this heat kind of being up and then released through. And I felt my body become emotional, but I didn't feel any particular way about it, even though those things were really painful, especially what's been happening as of late. And I was okay with having those things be as they were. And then as far as the lightness, I saw an image of myself just being really vulnerable, like no hair, crying, really small. And then I saw an image of myself just mothering that person. And so that for me was the lightness. And I didn't know that that would be stimulated in my sixth chakra.
It's amazing. It really all comes together here. You know, when we're talking about the 7 chakras, the middle point is the 4th. But when we're talking about 12, the middle point is the 6th. And that's where it all comes together. All of that shadow work, all of that being with what is, you know, the answer from here down is really, can you accept what's there? Can you show up for what's there? This is where you get to the maturity where you can begin to change it. Where you see what is, and it's like it all comes together. You can just sit in here and let each layer, all that shadow work from the 4th, all of the emotions and clairsentience from the 2nd, all of the safety issues and weird tribal shit from the 1st and the 3rd, all of the ways that you feel stifled / totally expressed, or the parts of your ego structure that come out in the 4th and 5th. It all comes together when you get quiet and you just sit in that 3rd eye, that brow area. Who else?
I'll talk. So I'm a pretty experienced meditator, and plus last October, I'd been curious about TM for a while. And then it just started coming to me from every direction, and actually made my husband to do it with me, which was great for him. And I'm not perfect about doing it twice a day, but anyway, I'm pretty conscious. It really feels like, because I'm very in my head, but I, especially, the morning one is easier for me because I get up really early and I just go sit in this armchair in our room and, with my crystals, and I just make it really yummy and all that sort of thing. So it's sort of easy. Like I have a specific sensation of like consciously choosing that channel, and it's not to say, certain mornings that I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm like, no, I'm doing that other thing. So I feel like I have that ability, most of the time.
To kind of drop into that nothingness.
Yeah.
Yeah. TM's good for that.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. It's a good program. It's interesting because a few years ago, I was going to some body worker, and she had a John of God bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on it, and I thought, oh, nothing's going to happen, la, 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 and then I started seeing all this sort of purpley fuchsia,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of these different eyes coming at me. It was amazing. And then all of these different animals, and I had, I'll explain that in a second. I had a very strong sensation of the animal world is welcoming me. And I'm very tied into them. I'm a huge, ridiculous dog person, and I love animals, all that. But like that was the thought that came to me. And I have had the animals once or twice since. I get the eyes once in a while. I get the purple fuchsia a lot. And so that feels like pretty, feel like pretty obvious third eye to me, but I can't really go beyond that, it seems. And that's frustrating to me.
I'm so glad that you're here, because that's what is going to happen, is you're going to go beyond that. And it's so interesting because we get this picture in our heads that it's super, super mystical, but oftentimes because we've built all of this under structure, and it's very solid, actually, more solid than it's ever been. Every time you build this up down here, this has another opportunity to really feel that strength beneath and to be able to utilize this area to move energy, to see energy clearly. So that's actually really perfect introduction. But do you want to describe what a John of God bed is before we go further?
Yeah, I will. I mean, to whatever extent I know, John of God is, he's a guy in Brazil who is a healer, and a lot of clear quartz comes from Brazil, as some of you may know. And it's allegedly, like, where he is, there's just quartz everywhere. And, there's quartz that he is specifically blessed called Casa quartz, and it's supposed to be very high vibe and blah, blah, blah. Now, unfortunately, of course, he's last I heard, he was under investigation for all kinds of nefarious things. Oh, you haven't heard that? Yeah. So anyway.
Spiritual teachers, damn it.
Yeah.
It's like it hangs over the bed, right? Like you lay on the bed, and then there's all these like crystals that correspond to energy centers in your body, which are pretty much the chakras. And it's a really there was one at Psychic Sister when I was working with them, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. It's trippy. It's like, imagine really powerful pointy crystals like right on your chakra center. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So I think they might, they're, it must be all, they're all clear quartz crystals that have some either, they're arranged in a circle, and I would believe, I think there's 7 of them. There must be.
Yeah.
And there's, colored lights behind them in the different chakra colors. So that gets turned on and you're just lying there. And I don't remember anything like vibratory on the bed or anything.
No, I think it was just the colors and the crystals. Right on.
So it was amazing. I was thrilled, that happened, but I'm like, I want more, bring it back, I want more.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking actually as you were describing it. These are tools that we actually need. So I'm a big fan of utilizing my crystals for things like that, or my different healing tools, and just really bringing them into my daily life so that it's not a special bed that costs however many dollars that someone, put together, but what can we make that are our magical tools, and really special, like sacred things that are healing to our bodies, and that we can maybe put together ourselves with our own hand chakras, because our healing is the most important healing. That's what we're constantly craving. And, me, you, any other person that's holding space as a healer, we're just reminding people of that. We're going, I believe this for me, and I believe this so strongly for you too. I see you healing. I see you actualizing. I see you, being whatever you need or want to be in this lifetime. So when you hold that for yourself and you bless them with all of that stuff, especially after you guys go through this class, you have so much access to yourself. You're opening doorways that you're going to be like, ooh, a couple years from now, they'll make a lot of sense. And so, make some magical tools.
Yeah, I think the crystals are enormously helpful, and, if anybody want, pretty learned in crystals.
Yeah, you literally make magical tools. I've seen your jewelry. Holy moly.
Yeah, definitely.
Big old art pieces.
Yes. Oh yeah. They're, not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
But there's also that sort of Pavlovian thing, of, whatever it is, if you light a candle, you light incense, you're holding the crystals, or you have that special blanket of, signaling to your brain, like, okay, now it's time to go into that state. I think that is very helpful.
Exactly. Yeah, that ritual really helps out when you want to get in.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. So, anybody else want to share before we move on? Yeah, Elsa.
I do. First of all, that's so interesting that Nicole brought that up, because it's the second time that John of Day came up in conversation today. And the first conversation that was totally around, like, a friend of mine, like, and I discussing like some interesting things that have been happening, like, all the gurus that are just, basically like Me Tooing, and they're falling off their pedestals, so to say. And we were discussing, like, a spiritual teacher that we used to follow that has gone very Jesus, and it even is like saying things like, some of the stuff I used to say is like the work of the devil, and we're just kind of like, is that legit? Like, questioning, like, what's light and what's false light, and what's darkness. And so it was interesting. Some of that came up a little bit when you were asking about, like, where's the light and where's the darkness in our meditation.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also noticed myself thinking about, like, in my life, like coworker conflict was like the thing that came up for darkness. And like light is like when you can serve other people and be I guess just not necessarily like the answer or anything, just like a lightning force.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to show you my magical tool.
Oh, cool.
And I made
Did you
got
make it?
crystals and and I got the bear claw off a bear.
Oh,
And
oh wow.
this
Thank you
rock is
for sharing
from hot springs in Utah.
Beautiful. Yeah, you know, from here on out, I think it's going to become quite obvious what happens to gurus.
What do you mean?
You'll see over the next 6 weeks, we're going to be going through all the layers that gurus function in. And you'll see why it's so important to have from here down built, because this is what gives you the humanity and the grounding that you need in order to not perpetuate codependency, not perpetuate toxicity, not perpetuate structures that healing can't come through any longer. It needed to come through something, and so it was going to come through no matter what. And actually, this lights up one of the things I really want to talk about today, which is you can really only see as deep as your programming will allow you to go. Which is why when we go into learning spaces like this, including with me, which is why it works so well to work this way. I'm not guru'd, so I can't find myself in any of those weird fucking paths. I'm a student. I'm literally on the roster. And I put myself on the roster because I am as much a student of going through each layer and being like, whoa, that's in there. Okay, let me just move that out. Let me find my truth around this. Let me sit in the scary mixture of like, I don't know yet, and I'm really freaked out by this, and I'm in a blank space, and just keep building that humanity and building that connection to the human process. When you're a guru, you're really holding from here up. There's not a lot of humans that can function from here up, you know? We, our generations of indigos, we came through with this turned on, but you remember what you had to go through to get here. How much fucking, you know, you were 3 and you were like, oh my God, I can see through my 6th chakra. And then your parents were like, stop it, you know, and then school happened and programming happened. And that's all not a bad thing. We're learning how to socialize. We're learning how to be in society. But now we're seeing really clearly the structures, the pictures, the ways in which we've positioned society that doesn't really help here down. A lot of us get locked into here. When you're a guru, you're holding a lot of space for people, but oftentimes you don't have a lot of space to be human. When you cut off from your humanity as a spiritual being and you move into those 12D chakras, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, you're holding knowledge and information that most people don't have. So most people can't meet you there. So then there's a cutoff from the body, from the humanity. And typically what will happen, especially sad to say, I've seen this in both sexes, but male, because we've really elevated a lot of male gurus, and they have the privilege to be able to speak. A lot of women I know are like, I can't say that, including me. I'm putting together a class that I've taught 25 times, and I'm like, I don't want to ruin people's lives with bad karma if I don't say it right. And like, that's how women think. Men don't think that way. They're conditioned to be like, cool, I think this is how I feel, I'm going to say it. And so because of that beautiful privilege, they can kind of bypass some things. And because spirituality and body have been so separated for so long because of Christianity, the Abrahamic religions, it's really been like your body is something you control. Your pleasure is something that is gross and wrong. Your desire is destroying your life. You'll never be a spiritual being in a human body if you don't get that. You know, like all of this really negative animal programming, like no animal body, no primality, just higher self, spirituality. We see in the 6th chakra that that's not how it works. So then a lot of these people, they have lots of community around them to ground them because they're holding so much space for people. So much, like imagine that, thousands of people. A man like that travels around. I don't know about you, but I get horny too. And if there were like beautiful light worker ladies everywhere in like tank tops, I don't know, you know? I get it, but there's no structure for them to participate in that. And now they're in a position of authority all the time. And they can't ever come out of that because they're holding such high space and people put them on a pedestal. The inevitable thing that happens when you put someone on a pedestal, what do you have to do to get your power back? Snatch it back. And as a way to kind of honor the darkness, your teachers, it happens all the time. They'll piss you off and you'll be like, wait a minute, I hate you now. You know, it's a shitty part of being a teacher. And you can do things to negate that whole game. Like that's one of the things I've really positioned myself to get out of. I don't want to be on pedestals because then you have to ruin our relationship, or I have to ruin our relationship in order for you to see me as human. We're going to skip all that. And we're just going to be real people who are doing real work, understanding ourselves, looking at the world around us soberly, and going, how can we grow? How can we improve what we have going on? How can we see the truth come together and create regenerative and nourishing structures rather than competitive, disassociative, destabilizing, rapey structures? That's what a lot of females are building. And that's one of the reasons that all of these male gurus are falling away. The year 2000 was the ushering in of the divine feminine. 2020 is when she's hitting it into fifth gear. And now we're going to go for it. I want to see what people are saying. B. Schofield is doing excellent work right now. Is that an Instagram account?
She's a journalist who goes around and just exposes male gurus and female gurus. She's amazing. If you follow her on Facebook or whatever, she's broke like 4 or 5 of the big stories about these folks lately.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna follow her. Thank you.
She's amazing. And as any journalist who is doing that work, she's an amazing writer too. She's been kicked off. I think she's even been kicked off Medium because of the backlash of what she writes. Mm-hmm. So she's always looking for financial support as well.
I'm happy to support a mouthy woman.
Yes.
Beautiful. And you said to notice when you're being put on a pedestal or demonized. It's so true. That used to be the standard. My school did that. You know what I mean? Like they participated in that kind of dynamic. And when I left, I was like, how do I make it so this never ever happens? We need to create regenerative community, which means you can't see me as some like other being. I'm you, you're me. That's how we cure this thing called guruism and step out of it completely. All right, pictures. Let's talk about pictures for a second. Hold on. Let me plug my little mic back in here. I can only hear you guys. It's unplugged. Can you hear me okay? Give me thumbs up. Cool. Okay. So this idea of pictures, get my little teaching tools out, right? All the layers of the aura look just like this in the chakras. These are all the little pictures that take up the space. There's information in each layer that corresponds to everything that has ever happened. Belief systems, your parents' belief systems, cultural things, thought patterns, behavioral patterns, emotions, literally information on anything past, present, future, whatever. It's all right here, which is why I think it's so impactful to walk you guys into that space, get you nice and cozy, because then you can give us what you came here to give us. You can see your information. That's a tough thing to do, because once you go into all that information, then you're kind of like in the Rolodex of you and you're seeing a lot and it gets really overwhelming. Thank God we built from here down. You can actually ground it. You can modulate it, kind of tune it back a little bit, which is the first point I want to make. Your psychic abilities, especially your clairvoyance, it responds to what you want. So if you go in and you're getting deluged, you can be like, hey, stop it. This happened to me all throughout my 20s. I would see what was going to become of this information at 37 and 47 and 57. And I was like, can you please? My brain is too ADD for you to be giving me pictures 20 years from now. Please slow down. What do you want me to do today? Today, this week, what do you need? And then it would slow down and I would be able to start assimilating the energy and moving forward with little things day by day. So if you find yourself like I do in your ADD brain, ADHD brain, which is a very psychic neurology, by the way, it just means you get a lot of information, and the lower chakras, the lower energy centers, are having a hard time assimilating it. Now you've got that metabolism going internally. Now you've got that safety built that you're like, oh, I can ground this. In the sixth chakra, you're able to see the pictures in the layers, discern the information in the layers. And now you've also built, over the past 7 weeks, the ability to be with it neutrally. You did all of the work for this. Every time you closed your eyes in class, every time you did the meditations on your own, you slowly but surely built the ability to be neutral, be with the light and dark of everything, still be connected to your body and getting your body's information about stuff. So you're clairsentient, clairaudient. Now we're going to work on being clairvoyant. Seeing energy clearly. She put it so well in this book. The most significant aspect of consciousness at the level of the sixth chakra is the development of psychic abilities. While psychic perception is not always visual, as in clairaudience from the chakra 5 or clairsentience from chakra 2, the timelessness of clairvoyant information allows it to encompass a greater scope than any psychic abilities discussed thus far. That is so true. There is a bullshit meter that you naturally have in this space that allows you to find the information through space and time. Yes, it's coming through the layers of whatever's in those layers, that programming, whatever. But if you can be with the layers of that stuff, soon you find yourself in the void, and then you access the sight. The ability to go, all right, let's party. I'm going to look at the energy of this. You look at the energy of it, there it is. That's it. So when we're talking about clairvoyance, you want to be able to see energy clearly. You can use a symbol to do that, but a lot of you are so clairvoyant that you can just close your eyes, find the color, look at the picture, find the vibe. But for those of you who want to use a symbol today, we're going to use the symbol of a rose. One of the reasons that we do this is because a lot of this work comes from Rosicrucianism, which is an ancient Gnostic religion, kind of mysticism amalgamation of things over, I think, the past 3,000 years. And a lot of this psychic stuff is recycled from them and the Golden Dawn and some other New Thought stuff. So the rose is there to be a neutral symbol of being able to see whatever energy you're looking at. So say I want to look at the energy of my psychic practice. I'm going to pull up a rose. I'm going to notice the color. I'm going to notice how big the rose is. I'm going to notice the bud. Is it healthy? What are the leaves like? Is there a stem? Is it long? Do they have the little flutter leaves underneath? What's the rose doing? Is it moving? Is it, just get all of the information about what that energy is. And you can do that by giving it 3 adjectives. It's quick. It's quicker information because you don't have to slow down for all that primality. That's why we meditate in the beginning. We get all cozy, and then we move up into the neutrality of our sixth chakra and we see what is. So I want you guys to shout out some things that you would like to read. So go ahead and put in the box a little list of topics, and we're going to go bit by bit and just look at the energy in that space and workshop it. If there's any places that you're getting stuck, we're going to figure that out. But I want to get you guys reading clairvoyantly today. Racism, thank you. Yeah, we'll take a look at that. Health, I love it. You know what I love about even these first two? You guys get that it's this overarching thing, right? We don't need to break it down into minutia. We can look at the energy of everything in general and get the read on it. Say hello to it. Oh, sweet. Romance and showing affection. What else? What else do you guys want to look at clairvoyantly today? Joy. Scarcity. Awesome. I would love to look at that. Anything else? Death and rebirth. Yeah. Recognizing one's path. Right on. That's a big one in the sixth chakra. That's the one we can always go to the unknown. I love that. Evolution of consciousness, the concept of home. Yay! Look at these advanced psychics. These are great topics. Yeah, when you look at the overarching energy, you're able to change it faster. Oftentimes because our brain is in analyzer mode, which means it's really just picking up the impulses from our body and not kind of being in our pineal gland or in our higher mind. Because of that, we think it's all this minutia. There's so much, oh my God, all this has to change in order for it to change. Once you get nice, Maddie, 2020, once you get up to the 6, this is where we really start to move energy. We're not mucking about in the emotions anymore. We're not like, oh my God, we're not doing any of that. We're like, what's the energy? And then we look at the energy and then we dissipate the energy. All right, I think we've got everything going on here. Let's just start reading and see where we get to. So go ahead and close your eyes. Would you pull your energy into the center of your head by gently rolling your eyes in and up whenever you are ready? And whatever vibe you find yourself in, whether it's very soft, maybe light and etheric, maybe feisty, passionate, whatever energy you find yourself in, will you accept yourself? Just be in a level of acceptance for who and what you are right now. The big thing in the sixth chakra is it does not need to be fixed or solved, simply seen. And then create and destroy. We'll go into that in a minute. So now that you've moved into your sixth chakra, would you just notice the energy in that space? Read first the energy there. Exactly. A lot of you are finding amusement in here, the ability to giggle at whatever you're seeing. Excelente. Keep that up. If you can laugh at what you're looking at or find what's funny about it, you've found liberation. So as you read the energy in the center of your head, just find a way to laugh at it. Like truly. What's funny about this? So before we begin, I want to read another little snippet here. It's really illuminating. Right after we finished was this paragraph. The term clairvoyance means clear seeing, This is seeing that is not muddled by the opaque world of material objects, normally defining our limited sense of space and time. The words clear and seeing quite accurately describe the process involved. To be clairvoyant, we need to look in the spaces that are clear, to look at the fields of energy, not at the objects themselves, to look at relationships, not things, to see the world as a whole, and to reach with our minds directly and clearly for the information we want. The more clarity we have within ourselves, the better we're able to see the subtle properties of the world around us. So would you begin to let your mind expand a bit here? Letting it reach toward more of the fields of energy rather than the objects. And just for fun, let's play with our rose symbolism for a minute. In your mind's eye, would you see a rose for your own energy? Epic win! Notice the color, notice the tone. And if you had to describe this in 3 words, what would it be? And now the caveat is you cannot be in judgment of any of these words. They are what they are. Everybody got it? Give me some nods when you're ready. Now take a look at everything you're seeing and blow it up. Not because you hate yourself and want to blow it up, but because you want to disengage from what you know and be in the openness of whatever's next. So every time you blow something up, know that you're just disengaging from that topic. You're not destroying something irreparably. We disengage from a topic so that we can know more about it. We can get outside of our preconceived notions. So with that, let's start with racism. Would you look at the energy of racism? What do you notice about it? Look for something you didn't notice before. What's the color? And what's the thing being communicated from that field of energy? And now, whatever you're looking at, would you blow it up? Not only are you blowing up the concept of racism, which, get it, blow it up 1,000,000 times, but you're also disengaging with it for yourself, which takes you out of the programming of all of that stuff. It takes you out of that mainstream media that we're all so programmed by. All of the pictures, but you know, those people are actually right. What those people are seeing for the first time ever in their life is through their sixth chakra. They're like, oh my God, there's programming. There it is. Disengage with it so that you can find a new picture. And so here's what we're going to do. You blew up racism, right? You've got a nice blank slate. Would you see the healing of all of the tribes on this planet? Would you visualize the respect, the nourishment, the collaboration, the co-creation, the care, the healing of every human being on Earth? And so mote it be. And now we go to health. Would you pull up a rose for health? Look at all the different things that come up. It might not have anything to do with you. Look at the color. Look at whatever pictures pop up. What do you notice about health tonight? So whatever you're noticing about health, would you go ahead, pull your energy back if you happen to have gone out into the picture, gone out into the ether sphere. Come on back into your body, right behind your eyes. Gently roll your eyes in and up. Say hello to that health energy one more time. Blow her up. Let it dissipate and just be in a blank space. And then would you see the health increasing for yourself? What does that look like? Your body health, your emotional health, your mental health, your financial health, your community health. What does that all look like as it increases? Get the vision. Would you see global health increasing? Everyone having access to healthcare, all life being respected, health increasing in every area, which means a healthy respect for cycles. Would you see the psychosis leaving the planet where we don't respect cycles? Would you blow that up? Bye-bye. Every time you blow something like that up, one of the gargoyles on the planet can't access the thought to suppress someone. That's a good spell. Every time you blow up racism, one less person is like, wait a minute. So seeing the health and vitality of all living beings on this planet, seeing the health and vitality of all beings not in a body. And seeing the health and vitality of all of our ancestors and future family, soul family. Nice job. Okay, romance. Romance and showing affection. So Venusian of you. I love it. So what's the energy of romance? Would you look at the color, look at the info? What's real for you about romance? You might have to blow up a few rounds of programming on it. There's a lot of programming on romance. Have you noticed? So would you find your truth here? What's your picture of romance? Yeah, and would you see yourself receiving that for you? Alrighty. And just really valuing, honoring the center of your head by being in it. Will you just see with the showing affection, would you just see all the ways that people have had issues with that? That's kind of been unsafe for folks? And would you put all of that, all of our ancestors, and you know, those pictures where they all look like stone people, wasn't a ton of romance, wasn't a ton of showing affection. Would you collect up all that energy on this planet in the field of romance and showing affection, and would you blow it up? And would you see what you need for affection? What's safe for you to receive? What do you need? And then would you go ahead and let that in? Bring that picture into your space and see people giving you that affection. Maybe extra hugs from friends, snuggles, high fives, just people holding you in really high regard in their hearts and minds. Gorgeous kinky sex, whatever you need. Imagine receiving that affection. Alrighty. So moving on to joy. Oh, and Elsa, I saw your message. So here's what we're going to do for joy. Would you allow yourself to get into that seeing place yet again? Just anchor a little bit deeper. That space of imagination, creativity, and visualization. And would you let go of all expectations? Just allow yourself to get completely neutral. And then would you imagine a rose for joy? And also, when you see the rose, go ahead and tell me what it looks like in the chat box so I can keep up with your process here. What's the color? And what are some adjectives that you would describe the energy of joy? Let it be automatic. Trust what you're receiving. For a lot of people, the sixth chakra is not their easiest energy center. Clairvoyance might be something that's challenging for folks. That's okay. Yeah, except not for you, girl. Full bloom, red, long stem, light, fun, open. Hell yeah. That's it. Nailed it. Super psychic. Beautiful. Would you go ahead and blow that up? Not because we don't like joy or what we're seeing, but because we're going to leave a blank space to imagine more joy. So would you notice what brings you joy throughout the day? Let your body communicate with you. Let yourself see energy or pictures. Let yourself hear the words, whatever way you're receiving it. What would more joy look and feel like in your life? Take your time with this. Now, for some of us, joy is not a normal or a feelable sense in our nervous systems. It's very, very foreign. So if you're feeling a blankness or you can't quite imagine what joy would feel like, you're not wrong. Stay in the blank for a little bit. And just find a frequency of joy that feels good to you. Maybe it's babies laughing. Maybe it's tiny puffy kittens. Maybe it's those goats in pajamas that jump around. Maybe it's that rave you went to in 1997 where it felt like everyone was so connected. Maybe it was a time in church when you were a kid. But allow yourself to remember joy, the feeling of it in your body. And then would you imagine everyone, every being on planet Earth being able to access joy whenever they wanted? All right, from joy to scarcity, go ahead and blow up everything you're looking at. Go ahead and get neutral again. Find your amusement, your ability to laugh at yourself. Laugh at the cosmic joke of it all. Remind yourself that you don't know so much and that you're ready to receive information. Because it's fun to learn. All right, scarcity. Would you look at a rose or the energy of scarcity? If there's any of these topics that you guys are having a hard time seeing, please make use of the chat box to kind of just anchor it and be like, this is all I can see, or this is what I'm doing over here. I don't want you to be lost in questions. Be a little bit more connected if you start to feel disconnected. Speaking of scarcity. All right. What do you notice about scarcity? What's the energy look like? What's the color? What's surprising about it? All right. For everybody's sake, will you blow this up? And with your strong mind, would you imagine everyone receiving the resources that they need? Would you see all the structures falling away that keep people from being able to access the resources they need? Would you see all the old belief systems that keep people in scarcity dissolving, the whole field of it dissolving? Being replaced with nourishment, regeneration, resource abundance, redistribution. This is how we expand our mind. And we see a better future for all. This is how you use your psychicness for the betterment of everything. All right. We've got a couple more. This is going to be a double one. Would you put one rose up on the left side and one rose up on the right side? On the left, will you see death? And on the right, will you see rebirth? You guys got your info? Go ahead and blow it up. And be in that space of death and rebirth. Would you notice how the cycles of death and rebirth visit you? The moons are a good example of this. It's the way you cycle psychologically, emotionally, are a good indicator of this. Honestly, eating is a good example of this. Where else do you notice yourself dying and being reborn? right. So recognizing your path. This is a great one for the sixth chakra because this is what we use our sixth chakra for. Looking at our path, finding our path, aligning to our vision. So, would you look at your life? This is a really good one to use the symbol of a rose because that can feel really overwhelming to just look at your life. So look at the color of the rose, the tone of the energy. What are the 3 adjectives that you use to describe your path? If there's a picture saying you're off your path, would you go ahead and blow that programming up? You can be sort of out of alignment with something, but you're never off your path. That's just not possible. You're alive. You're here. You're doing it. Even if you're playing video games in your underwear for 5 hours a day, you're still doing it. So allowing yourself to look at your path, notice what energy you see. Sometimes you like it, sometimes you don't. It's okay. We're going to blow it up. Whenever you feel ready and you've gotten the information you need, would you blow up what you're looking at? And would you ask to see your path clearer than ever before? And go ahead and be feisty. Demand to see clearly your path. And then accept what you receive. Would you accept that you're seeing a portion of it this evening? You're receiving what you can receive right now, but that will continue to deepen the more you make space in all these other places. All right. So just for fun, let's look at the energy of 2020. What's she look like? I just see a carousel and that do 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 and like huge TVs just showing the terror of the past 2,000 years or 30,000 years. I don't know. We're ending some cycles. But what do you see? What do you see for the energy of 2020? So would you take all that energy that you're looking at everything that you're seeing for 2020? And would you blow it up? And in doing so, help everyone change the picture of 2020. Let the year have a rest, maybe, from rattling our cages. Oh, I know. That can really help, actually. If you warm up your hands and put the heels of your hands on your eyes and just kind of rest for a second. Let your hand chakras heal your sixth. Let yourself empty out of all the pictures of 2020. And would you see the end of the year being peacefully illuminating? Would you see all the Uranus and Saturn energy that's going to Mars retrogrades, all of that cosmos? Would you shake your little psychic finger at the cosmos and be like, calm the fuck down? We want the highest possible outcome. No more calamity, thank you. When you set the tone like that, you really help the planet out. You guys are the ones who have a lot of consciousness. These new people that are coming online, they need you to do this. They need your help a little bit here. They're all freaked out. To blow the picture on 2020, would you see the world having a more peaceful experience? If you are carrying out in your own energy frequency or feeding the energy of Armageddon, or have in the past, that is a level of patriarchal programming that has gone on for centuries, and that's actually what we're trying to step out of. So, would you blow up any Armageddon scenes? Would you blow up the need and desire for humans to constantly fight one another? Would you see the war machine grinding to a halt? Would you see the beautiful souls in our government being like, wait a minute, we don't have to do it this way? Your vision is so important, you guys. That's why people pay millions of dollars to advertise to you. Getting a second of your consciousness is like gold. Bring it back to you. You create the vision of how you want to see the world. Not from your programming, not from the past limitations. Get clear, see it clearly, blow it up, and visualize a new way of doing life on this planet for yourself, and see it for the liberation of others. When you're ready, would you go ahead and stretch a little bit? Let your body know you're going to be slowly coming out of meditation. Do some hip twists. Move your arms around a little bit. Yeah, get in there. And then grab your workbooks. We have a couple more here that I just want you guys to look at on your own. Sammy brought up the unknown, which will be nice and meta for you to look at clairvoyantly. So do that this week, the unknown. Nicole added the evolution of consciousness, which is a really big meta one. Just kind of look at that and see what you see about that. And Amanda added the concept of home, which is great. Looking at home can be really healing for that first chakra. So you're getting that each time we just see whatever energy's there, whatever our personal understanding of that thing is, that's what we see. And then we honor that information because that's the tone. Some of it's probably known, you know what I mean? When I'm reading somebody, they're always like, these are all things that I knew about myself. I just couldn't quite put them in that way. Like, that's it. That's it. These are things you know because you're seeing what you know. But if you get good in here and you can relax enough and you can find that neutrality and amusement, you can get to the point where you can see beyond what you know. And it touches a part of your brain that isn't that analytical part that's like, anyway, whatever, like I'm still gonna just stress out in here. It accesses that imagination, that creativity again, that part of you that's like, I really like life. This is fun. I like creating. So spend as much time as you can in this space this week. Read everything. If you have a question about your life, if something comes up, if you have an emotion, if you have a long-standing topic, write them all down and read them. All you have to do to read is either use the symbol of a rose, take a look at everything you can see about it, all the details about it. It's telling you the energy. And then give it 3 adjectives for you to kind of sum up the vibe of what you're looking at. And then you can blow it up, leave space available, and you can see the next thing, whatever the next layer is. A lot of you guys have been working on this tool for a long time. So when you close your eyes and you begin to look at something, you just see everything, right? Like you see the matrix and you see your own energy in it and you see like the collective. That's great too. Whatever information you're getting psychically is great information. It's just the 6 chakras are a really nice place to find neutrality so that you can be with the information. It starts to order, like Judith was saying in the book. It starts to have a pattern. Ooh, Elsa. I've had a super detailed rose reading where every part of the flower gave so much information. And so, yeah, like, I'm wondering how we are supposed to get meaningful information from the rose, like more than just a few adjectives. This seems like creating and destroying to me, not so much reading. Yeah, this is reading. This is it. So you can read the general energy of something and stay in that generality in order to work with the energy. If you want to open up each little detail and read deeper into the picture there, you can absolutely get into the minutia of that. And that's why in a couple of months, I'm going to be offering an entire reading course so that it's just the minutia of reading. It's only clairvoyantly reading because there is so much to look at. When you take on the 6th chakra though, it's really important that you're able to just see what there is to see. And not so much that you can go down the rabbit hole into all of the information. That's great. You can slow down, get all that information about whatever you guys want. But for this class, the main thing to do is to look at those overarching pictures, those frequency fields, and see them really clearly and then blow them up. Once you've read it, you can clear some space and learn a little bit more. So that's how you can go a little bit deeper. So if you guys know how to read with tons and tons of information, do it. Go deeper, read every picture that comes up, every pattern that comes up, all the information in that space. But we're going to be working quickly because we have to in this course to just get to the juice of it and then go a little bit deeper later on. Okay. Any other questions, thoughts, feelings? How did it go?
So I just have to share my racism one because it was totally unexpected, and there's a lot of humor in a topic that I don't usually find humorous at all. Mm-hmm. So there's like this big gray fog at first, and there was like lightning in the fog and snarly noises, and like it smelled, because you know when I read I can smell, like it smelled like fire and brimstone, like it, all the chaos and I don't know, ickiness right in this gray fog. And then I heard this pickle, a big green pickle with a top hat and a cane and boots on, walked out, and he went, ah, like that. And I was just like, what in the literal, what just happened? Like, this is racism. This is supposed to be like, give me a way to heal this thing. Like, I want to rescue everybody. Like, how are we going to do this? And so, yeah, I got a lot of information. It was completely a big surprise. I feel even uncomfortable talking about that because it was, yeah.
It's supposed to be serious and it's not.
Yeah, and
Find
remember
that.
the first time you had me read it in I guess it was the 12th, the layer, and it was a very different thing. Like, it was had all the emotion I was expecting, and their hands and this was a pickle. It was a lot of information, good information. A big surprise.
Yeah, that's the more you read, right? The more you go deep, the more that you see all these different layers of it, and the more it unwinds for you. So if you guys have an issue or a part of your life where you're really struggling to understand something, just keep looking at it, blowing it up. Looking at it, blowing it up. Those are the layers that I've been talking about. More and more information will come up. You will read yourself into a corner, absolutely, when you do this. Just know that that's going to happen. And then when you find yourself in a corner, that's when you reach for amusement. Laugh at yourself. Just be like, "God, Jesus, I read myself into a corner. All right. Let me just bring myself back, reground, get back in the center of your head, and see what you can see again." Amusement saves lives. I'm telling you, if you can laugh at yourself, you can laugh at what you're seeing, it helps to process it. When this really turns on and actualizes, there is this space of neutrality. And there's this space of amusement to be able to kind of see it from that larger perspective. We're getting into those soul level perspectives up here. Beautiful. Anybody else before we go into the lymphatic system? I can already tell now that we're in the upper chakras, I'm going to be doing a lot more of those like longer videos in your emails. So much information in these upper chakras that it is hard to smush it into the 2 hours. But yeah, we'll just keep working deeper and deeper. The things that come up for you guys, I'm so happy to do like extra little lessons, extra meditations, anything that you need in order to keep going deeper. I'm of service during this time. So let me know. Cuties. I'm going to queue up our lymph system here while you guys are typing away. Typing. Okay. We don't need that. We do need this. Alrighty. Do I need to do that this time? No, I can do that next time. All right, so lymph system. The lymph system is an organ system that is part of the circulatory system. So we just did the circulatory system. We're having its little sister system. And the immune system. It is made, and it's moved by the muscular system. It's made up of a large network of lymphatic vessels, lymphatic or lymphoid organs, and lymphoid tissue. Sexy. The vessels carry a clear fluid called lymph. The Latin word for lympha refers to the deity of fresh water, which I love. And the lymph moves towards the heart. So that's some really beautiful information. It clears waste products, bacteria, and proteins. And again, it is moved by the muscular system. So if you've been like me and kind of stationary-ish with the random 10-mile hike here or there, your lymph system's unhappy with you right now. So I'm really happy to be focusing on it with you guys because my lymph system needs some love-in. So let me pull up our little picture here. Share screen. Here we go. There. There's our lymph system. Would you take a gander? Take it in. This is you on the inside. Of course, you see we're in the 6. We've got a lot going on here. So say hello to all these areas, your armpits, your spleen, your thymus. Oof, that's the high heart. We love that part. Your groin area, and your knees and your elbows, all the little crooks of your body. And would you begin to feel your lymph on the inside if you can? It's a little trippy, but some of you are empathic enough with your bodies. And just noticing anything popping out to you before we move into meditation with this. When you're ready, floating into the center of your head, would you see your lymph structure in your mind's eye? Imagine it. Trust yourself that you can see this. Would you notice the colors? Are there any blockages? What do you notice? Any places that you feel blockages, will you take those hand chakras and in your mind's eye, would you imagine your hand chakras opening and put a really beautiful healing color in there? I like gold or pink or green. Those are my favorites to heal with. And then would you begin to press gently on the areas of your body where you have lymph, kind of like in a pumping motion. Just help it move along. Yeah, just softly rubbing your hands, little pulses in those areas. Breathing and stretching any place you need to breathe and stretch. Give your body permission to do whatever you need to do in a moving meditation, a still meditation, whatever feels good to you. Noticing any pictures or energies or emotions in this space that have maybe stagnated and pooled in a part of your body. Heavy levels of resistance tend to get stuck in these areas. So would you reach for flexibility? movement. And just like last week, will you chat with your heart really quick and be like, hey, I'm going to be moving some lymph through here. I'm going to need you to clean it up, pump it out, help me out. And of course, your heart space is going to say yes. Of course it is. It's here to pump, to work, to keep you alive. But just letting it know feels respectful. That's going to be doing a little extra lifting this week. Would you again fill in your heart space with a really cleansing, healing energy? Turn on the little love light in there. Click it on. For my Jerry Garcia fans out there, turn on your love light. Beautiful. And all the way down through your backs of your knees, the back of your body, really letting your whole body get this healing from your lymph moving. And then would you guys sit back, relax, and just assimilate for a couple of minutes? Allow everything that we did today to simmer. Just letting any of the seriousness start to go. If you've picked up any seriousness about this work, or there's a vibe that you're somehow not doing it right, would you guys begin to let that out of your body, let it out of your energy, and to validate what we did last week with the mantras, I want you to work with the mantra, I'm always getting what I need. Now, when we say those words, what's going to happen first are all the times we didn't get what we need. Observe that. Call your energy back from those times. Slow them up. They're over now. your ability to create a new neural pathway and to choose it consistently will allow you to move into this new timeline where that mantra becomes true. I always get what I need. And to really anchor you always getting what you need, will you read one more thing with me tonight? Would you look at the energy of grace? Grace is that energy that is generous. It's having that extra little bit of space when you feel pinched. Those extra couple of days to make that payment. That person being nicer to you than maybe you're being to them. That grace. That extra space for you to exist right as you are. Would you find the color of grace? And give me some nods and some thumbs up when you feel like you got it. Awesome. And would you go ahead and begin to wash your body all the way into your lymph system with grace. The frequency, the energy of grace. And then one last little healing before we move into the rest of our evenings. Before we go into it, I just want to thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this work. Thank you for showing up so bravely. Would you let that beautiful earth star beneath you and whatever relationship you have to it, would you let it open up, begin to shine that beautiful magenta up through your entire lymph system. So even if you have to open your eyes and take a look at it again, just imagine it coming up through those little tendrils into the little lymph balls, all the way up through your thighs, that whole groin and inguinal area there, right into your deep belly, over into the sides of your chest, down your arms, and up through your neck and head and face. So you got the Earth Star nourishing, bringing in lots of healing, lots of space for you to be human. And then that Soul Star, the 8th chakra. We've got a couple weeks before we really dive in, but you've been getting to know this the whole time, just like you've been low-key learning how to read the whole time. You got this. Gold energy, Soul Star, sitting 3 to 6 feet above your head, hanging out with you always. Go ahead and call on it. Would you bring down the infinite source of your own energy that lives right above you through your lymph structure, meeting that beautiful magenta color, dancing, mixing, moving, all the way from those dense sides of head, lymph tissues and systems into your shoulders, down your arms, through your armpit area, the chest area, really focusing on that thymus and spleen for this one. Oh yeah, that feels good. All the way in through your belly, the core, really deep into your belly, and then the whole hip and groin area, down through all of the lymph system into your knees, and then down through your feet. Anchoring earth and sky. Whenever you're ready, would you let your body slowly or quickly, whatever feels good, come on out of meditation. Beautiful job tonight. Yeah, good job. We're getting up there. I'm going to be in your inboxes with a little kind of middle of our training question session just for you and for me to know where you're at and for you to see yourself clearly, you know, and get back in touch with your why that you're doing this training and just kind of re-engage with that. So expect that pretty soon. And I'm here. If you guys need anything, I got you. Get at me. Mwah. Have a beautiful night. I'll talk to you soon.